Welcome to South Asia Maps. This is J. Reddy, your facilitator for South Asia Maps educational channel which brings quality information in iconographic form for South Asian region. We have Karakoram Mountains here, near Pamir Nat and Kanyakumari here, this entire region. Today's presentation is about a very important political entity in Deccan, South India, south of Vindhya Mountains, Satpura Mountains, south of Burhanpur Pass. This is the same slide. Asafiya Nizamiya, Islamic imperialism in Deccan, its collapse in Deccan. Asafiya Nizamiya, Islamic imperialism in Deccan. This is Deccan, its collapse. Hyderabad, the princely state of Hyderabad and Berar. When Alampana's Islamic Ghazwa, Alampana, the title of Nizam, Alampana's Islamic Ghazwa and Islamic Jihad in Deccan failed. When it failed, scapegoats were found. This is the scapegoats. Two scapegoats, KAssim Razvi, the leader of Razkars are voluntaries, Islamic gangsters or vandals, to put them politely, and Mir Laik Ali Khan, the Prime Minister or Diwan of princely state of Hyderabad in Deccan. Here we see Nawab of Chettari, considerably a less moderate leader and penultimate chief minister or premier or Diwan of Hyderabad and Berar. Here Mir Usman Ali Khan, Alampana, who reigned from 1911 to 1948, integration of princely state in Operation Polo. We look at subsidiary alliance of Wellesley. We talk about a paramount power, a secondary power, June 3rd plan, I think it's June 6th plan, the typo here, and Chamber of Princes, 1947 Indian Independence Act. Two dominions, Dominion of Pakistan, Dominion of India. The third dominion, that is Nizam South, the instrument of accession and standstill agreements. The resident in Hyderabad, princely state, Agent General K.M. Munshi. Hyderabad contingent is the military force, consists of Pathans, Pashtuns, Arabs, Rohillas, headed by an Arab General Idris, all Islamic, all Arabic, all Middle Eastern, no native. This is Islamic Darul Islam. J.N. Chaudhary, Majlis Party, Majlis Ittahid ul Muslimin, very high sounding gibberish Arabic term, simply called Majlis, a political party of Muslims. Qasim Razvi, Mir Laik Ali Khan, Qasim Razvi. J.N. Chaudhary, the leader of Indian Armed Forces who led the Operation Polo, police action or military action. Lord Mountbatten, the last Governor General, Viceroy of Crown from 21st February 47 to 21st June 48. Operation Polo, a short police action for 5 days. Capitulation and surrender of Hyderabad contingent and Razkars. Radio broadcast by the Nizam and the scapegoats there. That's the most important one. You can see two scapegoats here, Razkars and Laik. Everybody pointing to the scapegoats. Nizam pointed to those two scapegoats. That is the story. Scapegoats were found in KAssim, Razvi and Mir Laik Ali Khan. And Alam Pana is a Middle Eastern title generally called Savior of the Universe, is addressed for the loyals. Many Nizams sported the title, Mughal emperor sported the title. Here Alam Pana is His Exalted Highness Nizam. Scapegoat means someone who is assigned the blame or made to take the failure for something else. The failure of Operation Ghazwa, the failure of Jihad in Deccan. Once it failed, somebody was assigned the blame. Those are the scapegoats. So two scapegoats, Laik Ali and KAssim Razvi here. Ghazwa, Arabic term. Muhammad started as Ghazwas. He did almost nearly 30 Ghazwas. Ghazwas are raids or wars. It is a process of continuous jihad, the holy war, what Islam claims. Is a raiding the kafirs or the opponents and conquering their territory, taking their properties and their females, and enhancing the Darul Islam, that is Ghazwa. Ghazwa in Deccan is round about 13 months. His Exalted Highness Alam Pana waged on the Indian dominion of India. Nizam entered into subsidiary alliance after the death of the first famous Nizam, Asaf with Richard Wellesley, the Governor General of East India Company, and British cantonment forces came to Hyderabad territory, resided in an area called Bolaram, later called Sikandrabad, across the Lake Hussain Sagar. Hyderabad state became a subsidiary state, secondary state. British East India Company became the paramount power, and Hyderabad state, previously which was a de facto independent state but de jure professed loyalty to the Mughal emperor at Delhi, Shah Alam II Shiani. And during the partition plan, the act specified two dominion status, dominion of India, dominion Pakistan, successor states of British Indian Empire Raj. And all the princely states has to join this domain or other domain. Hyderabad and Kashmir were the two states that didn't join either of them. Hyderabad state, Nizam asked for a third dominion status, which was not possible. British, even though their closest allies, couldn't help their friend. So he didn't sign the instrument of accession, a political document signed by 530 plus princely state on the east side of Radcliffe Line, and more than 50, nearly 50 states on the west side of Radcliffe Line joining dominion of Pakistan. Nizam didn't sign it, and instead that, in order to avoid any political vacuum, he finally agreed to sign a standstill agreement. That means he will stand still. Nizam claimed that after British left, all the obligations he has with the British treaties expired. He is now independent, that the dominion of India contested, and the contest continue. The status of the state of Hyderabad, princely state and bearer, was uncertain nearly for 13 months. Previously, the Principal British representative in the princely state of Hyderabad was called resident. Nizam didn't agree for that when the Dominion of India wanted to send a resident. Finally, a comparable term, agent general, was used, and K.M. Munshi, a prominent minister from Gujarat region, was sent as agent general, essentially like an ambassador. Nizam asked for High Commissioner status. High Commissioner is a term used in the British Commonwealth countries for the ambassador. Other countries use ambassador, whereas the Commonwealth countries, Nigeria, India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Ghana, and so on, they use High Commissioner. Nizam asked for a High Commissioner title. Dominion refused. Both accepted Agent General. British Army left after the Independence Act. Nizam has a contingent. Most of them are Muslims and their mercenaries, Pashtuns, Arabs, North Indian Muslims, and Rohingyas, and their leader was Arab Idris. During the earlier period, a political party was started, and to preserve the Usmanistan as a separate entity in case of independence is awarded to India. And finally, KAssim Razvi was one of its prominent leaders. He and other important advisors of Nizam egged on him to take a belligerent stand, aggressive stand against dominion of India. Large-scale genocide of Hindus after Pakistan was formed from Punjab and Sindh and Baluch and East Bengal, and millions of refugees came, and within 6 months or so Gandhiji was assassinated in 48, and Operation Gibraltar by Pakistani government occupied lot of land in the Kashmir princely state. So everything was very confusing. So Indian dominion couldn't take any action on Hyderabad. So both of them temporarily agreed for standstill agreement. That means India, whatever the agreement Nizam has with Alampana has with the British government will stay. Indian government will administer the foreign policy, and Indian army, British army was taken out of the realm of Nizam. And political and consultations, diplomatic started. Nizam asked for more and more, and Nizam's chief minister or prime minister, Mir Laik Ali, was in November planned to go to Delhi for negotiations, and thousands of the Razkars came to the airport, Begumpet, and stopped him because they were not convinced that he will not be asking for stringent conditions or separate Usmanistan. So finally he was deposed. That is called November coup. And KAssim Razvi, originally a Muslim from Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, at that time called United Provinces of Agra and Awadh. Later his family he studied at Aligarh Muslim University, where most of the two-nation theory or Pakistani or Islamic ideologies came from, and settled in Latur, adjoining, that is close to Usmanabad area, that is next to the Sholapur district, and became a very prominent leader of MIM. He was a lawyer and a successful law practice. So finally Nizam came under his control. He used to call Nizam as Alampana or Jahapana. And so this took a belligerent stand. And KAssim Razvi visited Delhi and has a brief conversation with Sardar Patel, in which he said, you cannot just wipe out the state of Hyderabad by just a stroke of the pen. That means just signing the document, instrument of accession. The death is lot better than execution by stroke of pen. And he walked away. So the events started, and Razkars became very prominent, start attacking the Kafis, the Hindus, and even Muslims also, who are not inclined to take their stand. Razkars and Nizam wanted outright independent status, an independent country within the heartland of Deccan. Maximum concession he was going to give to the Dominion is he will conduct his foreign policy according to whatever the foreign policy Indian government takes in the United Nations. He will vote accordingly. That is the concession he is going to give. But there is also a loop there. In case of war between India and Pakistan, say he will stay neutral. He will not join either India and Pakistan, portraying is a favor to India. That means I am not going to join Pakistan in case of war between these two countries. I will stay neutral. And he also started giving lot of money to the new state of Pakistan, because Nizam was a very rich person on the planet Earth. At that time, the Popular Times magazine put his picture in the front end. He was third or fourth richest person at the time of World War II. And the Razkars start attacking the trains coming from the Dominion into the Hyderabad state, and large scale violence. And so finally the dinner after Lord Mountbatten left in June, Rajagopalachari became the Governor General, and Jinnah died in September 11th. And Operation Polo, the military action or police action, started, and the Indian army from Nagpur and Sholapur from Vijayawada this way entered the domains of Nizam, and within the 4 days Nizam's army collapsed and Nizam capitulated, and Nizam's General Commander-in-Chief Adress asked for the surrender, and the surrender was done. And after the surrender, the Nizam went to the Hyderabad radio station and read out this broadcast. I will read the broadcast. That's the topic today. We are talking about the scapegoats. His Exalted Highness, the faithful Ali of British Empire, Alam Pana Jahampana Mir Usman Ali Khan, broadcast after surrender. It was the Nizam's the first visit to the radio station. I took this verbatim from the wiki. The Nizam of Hyderabad, in his radio speech on September 23rd, 1948, said, "In November last 1947, a small group of organized quasi-military organization," meaning the Razkars, who organized it, who stated it, who encouraged it, Nizam just pretended that he doesn't know. That is November coup, when the Razkars went and stopped Nawab of Chatari going to Delhi for a negotiation with the Dominion of India. In November last, a small group which has organized quasi-military organization, meaning Razkars, surrendered the home of my Prime Minister, Nawab of Chatari, in whose wisdom I had a complete confidence. He has a confidence, but he dismissed him afterwards. And Sir Walter Monckton, he was a British lawyer and was negotiating as a constitutional expert and negotiating on behalf of Nizam, paid by Nizam. He is a wakil. My constitutional advisor, by duress, compelled the Nawab, that means Chatari, and trusted ministers to resign and forced Laik Ali ministry on me. He is the sovereign. He is the head of the government. He is the absolute monarch, ruler. He said somebody forced on me the Laik Ali ministry. The group headed by Qasim Razvi had no stake in the country and or no record of service behind it. By methods reminiscent of Hitlerite Germany, it took possession of the state. Nizam is complaining like a child that his power was taken away, and it has spread the terror and rendered me completely helpless. That's the rest of the broadcast continues. So, the Nizam, Mir Usman Ali Khan, Alam Pana, who waged Islamic Ghazwa, sanctioned it and just kept quiet as these events were happening for nearly 13 months. That is a continuous jihad in Deccan and the dominion of India and Hindus. When that Ghazwa failed, scapegoats were found in Qasim Razvi and Mir Laik Ali Khan. That's what His Exalted Highness said when he broadcasted his message in the radio Hyderabad. So there are two scapegoats. When the event fails and somebody will be found as a person responsible for the failure, all the hands are pointing to that particular person. This is we can say is a big hand. The Nizam's hand first pointed to Razkars and Laik Ali. That is about the Asafiya dynasty, Nizamiya dynasty, the Islamic imperialism in Deccan, the last outpost collapsed. That is the princely state of Hyderabad and Berar. When Alampana's Ghazwa failed, scapegoats were found. Essentially, today we discussed about the subsidiary alliance and Wellesley, the paramount power, the British, the secondary power, the state of Hyderabad, the Chamber of Princes, the partition plan or June 6th plan of 1947 and Indian Independence Act, the two dominions, Dominion of India, Dominion of Pakistan, and third dominion status South, and was not granted to His Exalted Highness Mir Usman Ali Khan, and diplomatic and political negotiations started because he didn't sign the instrument of accession but condescended, came down to sign the standstill agreement to avoid the political vacuum after the departure of the British from the Indian soil, and resident name was changed to Agent General K.M. Munshi was appointed. Hyderabad contingent, on whose confidence Nizam has, are all mercenaries, Pashtuns, Pathans, Rohillas, Arabs, headed by a mercenary general El Idris, and the prominent, his penultimate Prime Minister Chetari was forced to resign after November coup and replaced by a Qasim Razvi's hand-picked businessman Mir Laik Ali, a Razakar and a Majlis party member, and the death of Jinnah on September 11th, 48, and departure of Mountbatten Governor General 21st June 48, and Rajgopalachari became the Governor General. Operation Polo started on September 13th, 1948 and ended after 5 days, and the Nizam's army, Hyderabad contingent and Razakar vandals, they surrenders. After capitulation and surrender, Nizam went to the Hyderabad radio station and made a broadcast of acceding to the Indian Union. So that is the Alampana and the scapegoat, Holy Islamic War, Jihad, Islamic gangsterism, camouflaged as a holy war, conquering and converting the Kafis and Jahili lands, and Ghazwa, raids practiced by the Prophet of Islam, essentially testing the waters for future jihads with the Kafis. That is in a sense about the Operation Ghazwan Failure and Scapegoats. This is Jerry, your presenter at South Asia Maps. I appreciate your continued support, patronage, subscription for this channel, as we intend to bring quality information of Indian heritage, culture, geography of South Asia from Karakoram to Kanyakumari, Kamarupa to Kachcha, Kalat and Kaiba. Thank you very much. We see you later.